WebRTC to UDP TCP SIP translation gateway mechanism. To implement WebRTC, it is an effort for the vendors, us being one of them. So there may be situations where you want where your vendor just can't, they're just not going to use or implement WebRTC. So Asterisk can perform that translation for you. It just fits right in and does the translation. A lot of companies are using that for testing WebRTC, for example, with an existing infrastructure. Then click to call with an existing PBX. If once WebRTC really does get into the mainstream browsers, it's possible, you do have to take into account security and such, to have a WebRTC-based application available to people on your website, etc., that just connects directly into your PBX without really any extra effort, because it's built into Asterisk 11. And a tightly coupled soft phone. As Tim was saying, since you can push it full experience and environment, you can really make it tightly coupled with things. For example, you could use WebRTC for the media part, and then you may have an AMI-based control panel or something sitting right beside in the same web page. And a web-based game voice chat room, a la Facebook games or the other stuff that takes up numerous hours of our time. It would make it really easy to do something like that. And then obviously web-based conferencing is always a nice subject. No plugins, easier for the user. And call center agents. Since you can push out that full experience, you can custom craft things to your environment, your call center infrastructure, your CRM system, your trouble ticket system, etc. So yeah, if you do want to chat about this, WebRTC, I'm happy to. I'm happy to chat about anything else. So you can email me. I'm also available via XMPP. And I am on Twitter, so you may follow me, and I do respond to messages, usually within about 30 seconds, actually, provided good internet is available. And also, if anyone has any questions before our potential not going right demo, both Tim and I would be happy to take them at this time. Yes?
Just regarding DTL SSRTP, you say you're using that for the WhatsApp transport, but it's not very commonly used. Is it mandatory to use for WebRTC, or?
Has it become mandatory yet?
No, it hasn't become mandatory, and my personal opinion is that it won't. There are too many people who are keen that it shouldn't be. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, the thing about WebRTC is that it is still evolving and decisions are being made. So right now, for example, video codecs that are required or mandatory to implement are still not completely decided. There's a debate between VP8 and H.264. So the same goes for security. Of course, there's pros and cons for each, but there's no decision yet. And to really make sure that in either case we're okay, we've got DTL SSRTP now. So no matter what the decision ends up being, it should just work. Any other questions?
So I might be worth emphasizing the issue there. The thing about the issue is around traditional SRTP, the keys are exchanged by the signaling channel. And that, particularly if you're involving a web server in that, there's a risk that the keys will get put into web server log files. And so the idea with DTL SSRTP is the key negotiation is done over the media channel, and at no point does it get percolated up to the signaling channel or to the web browser. So the web browser is unaware of what those keys are. So it should make interception more difficult. That's the philosophical reasoning for it. Whether that actually turns into real hard facts is unclear to me.
And now the exciting live demo that may go horribly awry.
Such a tease.
Go horribly awry. In the hotel, his internet is involved, he never has to pay.
So I'm going to do the demo once to see if it works, and then if it does, we'll talk about what it was that you saw. And if it doesn't, we'll kind of wave our hands a lot. So So this is a plain Chrome browser.
Welcome to the Feno test call. Please choose a test. Press 1 for DTMS, test 2 for landline, test 3 for wideband, test 4 to join conference, 5 to test mic, 6 to join rainbow dash call, 7 to be called back, 0 to hang up.
Aim.
Got a DTMS 1, okay. Please choose a test. Press 1 for DTMS, test 2 for landline, test 3 for wideband, test 4 to join conference. Wideband test. Please choose a test. Press 1 for D. Invalid choice. I do not understand. I heard no match. Please speak beta Dutch.
No.
Invalid choice.
Oh, come on.
I do not understand. I heard no match. Please speak beta Dutch.
No.
Please choose it. Goodbye.
So in a sense what you saw there is actually staggeringly simple. I'll show you the source for it. It is literally that much code. And the interesting aspect, there are two interesting aspects, one of which is there are no plugins. Right? I just want to say that again. There are no plugins. This is just Chrome. This is Chrome Beta, as it happens, but in 4 weeks' time this will be the release version of Chrome. So it's there's nothing magic in here, and there's just not a great deal of code. Mentioning the messaging thing here, what we've done is talk to an IVR, and the IVR, as well as reading the messaging, reading the prompts back, it also sent them over the XMPP channel. And here, I didn't do any val, I just set the HTML element there, so that I actually have my IVR sending up the prompts to the screen. And so it stays in sync. There was no, what it said was what it saw, what you saw, which for a user benefit, that's fantastic. I actually use this a lot. Because if I've forgotten what the options are, I can look at them. So that's the kind of trivial, well, not trivial, simple to implement user benefit that you can convey to your users immediately using your existing infrastructure. So having said that it was simple, I'll tell you a little bit about how this demo actually worked, and then you'll see why neither of us were confident that it was going to. So this is Chrome. This is Chrome calling into the Phono Gateway, which is running somewhere on the East Coast on Amazon, which negotiated the signaling. And it sent the signaling to an asterisk, which is running in my home on a Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi was doing, and this is impressive actually, it was running DTLS, running SRTP, and the ICE negotiation. It set up a direct media transport between here and my home, and then the asterisk was then connecting out to Tropo, which is our cloud-based telephony API, and Tropo has that IVR menuing system. That's an app I've written for testing Phono. I built this app, this demo, and at some point in the demo, I realized that I had a really serious problem, which is that they haven't agreed the standard code, the standard API for DTMF, sending DTMF. So I had this demo with no DTMF. It was like saying, press 1 to do, and I think, I didn't know what. So fortunately, Tropo supports speech to text, does good voice recognition. So I built that, but unless you've got a really good epic counselor, you run the risk of it hearing the prompts and immediately talking, basically responding to itself. So the hack was to switch languages, so that it reads the prompts in one language, and it's a hack, I admit it. But I speak acceptable Dutch to the point where it pretty much understood what I was doing. So there you go. That was a hugely complicated demo to do something really simple. But I hope you can see that there are real possible user benefits in doing that, and that the Raspberry Pi is a fantastic platform. So, questions? To me or Josh?
Yeah.
Hey.
Regarding echo cancellation, you said that there's hardware support for echo cancellation. Do you see it very
So most of the major operating systems offer APIs that will enable echo cancellation if the hardware supports it. So in Windows, there's some flag you can set on the... Now, whether the sound card supports it is to do with the hardware build, but I think you'll see it more and more in laptops, where the geometry of where the microphone and the speaker is a known quantity. And certainly on the tablets, that's definitely the case. But no, it isn't that common. But if it's there, then at least it's available to be used by the infrastructure in a way that's much harder for something like Flash.